This 2023 film that inspires heavily from the Italian horror subgenre is awesome. That's right, The Well, starring blossoming horror icon Lauren Rivera from the Terrifier franchise, is one of the few movies that I found that genuinely was a surprise. I feel like nowadays you find a movie that you either know everything about, it's an adaptation or a remake, or even though it has the best intentions, it's filmed in poor quality. But not only does this movie ooze beautiful cinematography, it has a great, eerie, deep character work and a haunting villain. I feel like all around it was just a genuine surprise with a lot of gore, a lot of bloody, brutal kills, and a lot of fun. So if that sounds interesting to you, come hang out with me. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Phantom of the Indie Review. I'm your host, Gelato Dude. We surpassed our journey of 4,000 subscribers finally, and guess what that means? Time for a new goal. Guess what that new goal is? Believe it or not, it's 5,000 subscribers. Am I that transparent? And we are trying to get it before the witching season starts, before October 1st, because if y'all been around on this channel for a while, you know in October and November we turn up. That is the spooky time, and I am the ambassador. So if you love talking about creepy shit, spooky movies, all the frightening little festivities, come hang out with me and give me a subby. In 1993, a girl named Lisa is sent to an Italian village by her father. Why, do you ask? Well, she is a painting restorer, restitute, and her job is to take expensive and rare, beautiful portraits and fix them back to their fullest potential. If History Channel found this girl back in the early 2000s, she would have had her own show. Ain't that right, Frankie? Her father was a renowned restorer, so he had a reputation, but he just couldn't make it to Italy, so he sends his daughter because he trusts her. He's like, yo girl, you can do this easily without a doubt in my mind. So she is sent on her merry little way to help this girl named Emma, a rather wealthy and sophisticated aristocrat who needs this painting done by a deadline. Like, she ain't fucking around, she ain't playing. On her way, Lisa gets to Italy. The movie starts off with her on a train, and on her way to this humble abode, she runs into another gaggle of Americans as well, and they are all biologists that are by happenstance going to the same exact little village as her because they're studying, you know, the wildlife and aquatic natures of the town. These Americans are named Madison and Tracy, accompanied by their tour guide, if you will, Tony. Hey, Tony. And right off the bat, you get the inclination that they're all gonna be friends because they're like, oh, we're all going to Sambuci, and maybe we can meet up and hang out and join the town. And then you're like, this is creating a little slasher vibe. Maybe they're gonna get together one day and get picked off one by one. Or maybe, since you know it's a horror movie and there are a lot of red herrings and a lot of, you know, bad people in scary movies, maybe something isn't what it seems to be with them. But, you know, that's nipped in the bud quickly when they get to this little village in the middle of the night and part ways. And I will say that this is where the movie kind of instantly gives you a nice, dismal and dreary, almost romantic perspective of Italy. In the moonlit night, when they get to the cross section of the signs, they're like, hey, we're gonna go stay on the outskirts of the town and camp. And she's like, well, I'm going to this manor over here, so I'll catch you on the flip side. This movie, right off the rip, does a great, beautiful job of setting not only tone, but landscape scenery captured in the camera. You can tell the director and the director of photography really worked hard together, and they wanted to capture almost like a little capsule, a vibe of Italy too, because oftentimes in movies it depends on how it's directed or how it's shot, and I feel like this movie was taking a certain niche of an Italian inspired kind of like late 90s horror movie, like a giallo film, and I feel like it oozes passion, and it really had a lot of simple but immersive shots of the countryside, of the moonlight, of the village around, and uses this set location as a character within itself. Before Lisa starts her job in the morning, she befriends a local named Marcus who's like, I live down the street, the train does not work. I'm not gonna do the accent the whole time, not to be like belittling, but it's just like, it's not a funny video. Like, this isn't a comedy show. But he's like, I can take you to the village if you want, and he kind of walks her, and a little fling arises, a little flame sparks, and he's like, yeah. They kind of hit it off right out of the gate, and you know, they walk. It's a nice, beautiful shot of them walking down this like orchard, and then you get the giant view of the creepy old historic manor she's going to be working in. And he's like, well, if you want to see me, I own this bar right here, coincidentally enough. And then you're like, okay, well, she's just meeting people and then like never seeing them again apparently, because she's just meeting people being like, let's hang out, and then they ghost her. They hit her with that hotline bling. And then as this movie sets up a pace, and then as this movie establishes a pace and a vibe, she gets into the manor and meets Emma, who's like, you have 2 weeks to finish this painting. And it's just a giant, beautifully framed black abyss. You can't see anything on it. And then Lisa's like, I'll try my best. And she's like, no, your dad didn't tell you about the implications of how severe this is. We need this done in 2 weeks or else there ain't gonna be you. Pretty much, she threatens her. She's like, you gotta get this done, girl. Like, hella dead ass. I'm not even capping. Like, giddy up type shit. It's just like, all right, I'll try my best. And while Lisa's working on this painting, the little biologists that we meet, Tony, Madison, and Tracy, they're snuggled up in their little campsite on a dreary, foggy Italian night when they all get ambushed, attacked, and kidnapped and dragged into a dungeon. Where is it going with that? But this painting that Lisa is working on is a 15th century masterpiece, apparently, that was damaged in a fire. The canvas is completely obscured in soot. Like I said, like you can't see anything. It literally looks like a blacked out image. Like, and she's gonna start to get into work. She does. She starts working on it, scrubbing it down, and throughout these sessions, because she wants to stay in the room, she's like, can I please stay in this room and sleep in this room so I can get to know the painting? She really cares about her work. As she starts to begin, creepy, eerie things unfold. And the one thing I like about this movie is that this painting genuinely is an embodiment of something supernatural and something demonic. As she starts working away at it, chipping away, she sees like there's demonic ghostly figures on it. There's just obscure, horrific images confined. So every time she's unraveling this painting and working on it, like you're almost scared as an audience member because you're like, what is the full image? Like what is behind it? And it does a great job slowly revealing that. Again, with this painting, it is there's something off about this painting. And the one thing about this movie that I like, it's kind of like, it's not ambiguous, but it's open up for interpretation for the most part. But as she's revealing things on here, like this weird, hairless, freaky looking creature, that same creature comes to her in her dreams and she kind of struggles sleeping. And every time she wakes up, she's more tormented, more tired, and more on edge. So it's like she's racing the clock and she's trying to figure out what's going on. And in the midst of all this, she meets Emma's young daughter. I think her name was Julia, who instantly, right off the rip, sweet young little girl with a beautiful singing voice, gives her a warning, a cryptic message of saying, you do not want to restore this painting. Evil things lurk within it. And that's kind of haunting and ominous because this little girl's not creepy. Like, she seems like one of the most genuine people in the village. So for her to be like, I strongly advise you to stay away from this painting, that's kind of creepy within itself, because you're like, okay, what's so wrong with this painting? And that's a cool thing about this movie. I feel like it's a very unique premise about a painting restorer going to like a little haunted Italian town and uncovering a demonic presence. Like, I feel like that's something you would see in the 90s or you would read in a novel, and it's not something you really see in mainstream movies. So the more Lisa unravels this painting, the more sinister her dreams become. And as all of this is happening, there is that group of biologists that were kidnapped and they get taken down to a dark, dank, decrepit basement of sorts with this one giant dude, this buff, shirtless dude wearing overalls, kind of with like a clown face, carrying an axe, and he's pretty much sacrificing them all one by one, because in the center of the basement is a well. And now I know what you're thinking. That's why the movie's called The Well. Exactly, because there's a well in it. Well, we got a problem. And I'm gonna be 8 more than 92 with you guys when I tell you that the kills in this movie genuinely are horrific, bloody, brutal, captivating, disturbing, whatever fucking adjective you want to use. Like, it is very creepy. And this big brute guy, he goes to each cell because they're all locked up in their own little areas, and one by one, as he picks them off, not only do the kills get more brutal, he is sacrificing these bodies into the well to something that's feeding on it. And as the kills go by, you see more and more of the creature that lurks beneath in the well. So as Lisa's unraveling this painting, she is learning more about the ancient history of this town. She is learning about that the creatures spread across this painting are like coming to life as she is restoring it. And not only is that eerie and haunting in itself, the creature design, the main entity in this movie, is actually quite freaky and disturbing. It's like this weird blood-sucking, cave-dwelling, descent-looking demon that is pretty much the main hell-bent monster of the movie. And all around, it's a pretty fast-paced movie. again, it's shot phenomenally, and it's just a great, fun, mysterious vibe that doesn't dive too deep into the lore of the painting and the people that are trying to get it restored, and it doesn't delve too much into Lisa's past life more than gives hints. And I feel like that's a great thing for a movie nowadays, because sometimes they try to hit you on the head with too much expo dump. They try to, spoon feed you information. And this one, like, you can think about it at face value. Like I was even saying earlier, I was like, this is one of those movies where I want to think about a little bit and see what it means to me more. But yeah, I really love the fact that they took that Italian aesthetic and kind of romanticized it and gave it a atmospheric, unsettling vibe to it, but it didn't drench it in music and in saturation and different lights where it seemed like a fever dream or like a theatrical play. It just seemed like when scenes were normal, when she was leading up to the village and like trying to establish herself there, it didn't seem like a horror movie at all. Like, it didn't give this eerie build up. It just gave a vibe of her being in Italy. And as the movie unfolds and things get more supernatural and off-putting, that's when the movie kind of like the way the characters are coming out of the painting, all the creepy stuff around is kind of like bleeding out onto the screen, is making this beautiful mesh of a typical reality into a feverish, surreal hell. And all around, the acting is pretty decent. It is shot phenomenally. I know I keep saying that, I sound like a broken record. The music score is wonderful. The practical effects are there. The kill scenes are brutal and gruesome. And all around is just a hidden gem that I really feel like fits well for this channel, because, the drip fed dread, you always hear me say, welcome back to Phantom of the Indie Review. I feel like this is a hella indie movie with a lot of passion into it, a lot of great storytelling, some creepy ass brutal shots that kind of burn into your brain with some horrific kill scenes that you might want to have to look away from because they genuinely are that freaky. Lauren Rivera, every time she, graces the screen presence, it's beautiful, because like she's just an amazing actor. Like I said, she's going to be a horror icon. One of these days I'm putting money on it. And all around, it's just one of those movies where I don't want to spoil the entire thing, because I feel like you should watch it for yourself. And I feel like you guys are going to thank me. Obviously, all the movies I do on this channel I recommend, but this one you definitely need to check out. It's on Tubi for free. But alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Give me a thumber. Hit that ding ring button harassing you, telling you, hey, it's me, I'm here. And I'm going to say it one time for the one time and two times for the O's. Give me a hell yeah. For horror. This was a slasher with a nice, fresh little spin on it. I found this movie to be quite fun, very meta, and very disturbing. I mean, there's been a slew of slashers that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s